You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey there, CBS soap opera fans. This is SoapDirt.com, and we have got your latest Young and the Restless weekly promo. This is for episodes coming Monday, May 29th to Friday, June 2nd, and there is a lot to unpack. We have got Phyllis Summers scenes. We've got the mystery stalker scenes. There's so much going on that we're excited to tell you all about it. We're going to tell you what the promo shows, and then we're going to break it down for you in the context of the known spoilers that are coming for next week. And then we are going to show you the promo so you can see it for yourself. And we would love to hear your comments on what you think is going on in this promo. Because as we know, all soap operas love to cut their promos very creatively to make things look one way when they might actually be another. Before we dig in, if you haven't already reached down, click that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our Young and the Restless spoilers, news, casting info, all the stuff that you need to know. So again, this is for the week of May 29th. There are 3 big scenes in this promo. The first scene is Nate Hastings sitting down with Victor Newman at Society, and Nate says to Victor, "Is this meeting about Newman Media, or is this a barbecue, and I'm what's on the grill?" In the second scene, we have Nick at Sharon's house on the ranch, and Chance shows up to the cottage and says to them, "I have news about Cameron, and it's not great." Then the third scene is the person they mentioned, Cameron Kirsten, in Chancellor Park, and he runs into Faith Newman. Cameron says, "Are you Faith Newman?" And Faith says, "I am. Do I know you?" And Cameron just gives her a creepy smile. All right, let's dig into this starting from the top. Nate and Victor. So Victor just got confirmation from Victoria Newman that she is betting her Newman Media CEO. She is, I think we can agree, a huge hypocrite because she was all on Adam when he was dating Sally when she worked for him at Newman Media. And she's been pretty critical of Nick for getting involved with someone who was working for them as the CEO of Newman Media is what Sally was when they first got involved. So Victoria is doing the exact same thing that both Nick and Adam did with Sally, but Victoria is unapologetic. Victoria has so little self-awareness, I feel like, about the hypocrisy that she conducts herself with, that it's laughable. She made a vow, to go after Adam's new company, but then acted affronted when he said he was coming for her. Same thing. But, that's just Victoria. And so Victor Newman has good reason to be concerned about Nate Hastings. Think about what Nate did to his own family when he was at Chancellor Winters. He was betraying his family and feeding inside info to Victoria Newman, which he knew was going to disrupt the IPO and probably see his family losing control of the merged company. It was a huge, huge betrayal. He chose family after basically a stranger, after profit and power. He put his family second. And for as crazy as Victor can be and as manipulative and ruthless, in his mind, he always puts family first. Now, they may not agree with his methods or his mindset, but you can rationalize that the things that Victor does are for family. And Victoria doesn't seem to feel that sense of loyalty, or she feels it selectively. She definitely doesn't feel it for all the Newmans. And, it's right that Victor is suspicious of Nate, and it's right for Nate to be on high alert because he has to know that Victor knows that he's betting his daughter. And the bottom line is Nate is a sketchy dude, gorgeous, but sketchy. He and Audra Charles are plotting to get Nick and Nikki both ousted from Newman Enterprises. So then Nate can take Nikki's job, and then Audra can have his job, and they know that Nick needs to be out of the way too because he is a suspicious critic. So I am very interested to see the lies, whatever lies that Nate is going to tell Victor about ambition and things like that. And he's probably going to flatter him about how Victor's a role model and he's also ambitious and how he can see how much Victoria is like, Victor, blah, blah. I look for Nate to do a whole bunch of self-deprecating sucking up. We'll see, but I'm glad that Victor's keeping an eye on him. Now, the next two segments of the Young and the Restless promo have to do with bad guy Cameron Kirsten. And we see this week on Young and the Restless, Sharon got the champagne bottle that had the little red splotch on it that looked kind of like blood. And then she got a postcard mailed to her from Denver. And if you know the Cameron Kirsten backstory, if you don't, I'll tell you. So Sharon was involved with Nick, but kissed Victor. This was years ago, like 2 decades ago, maybe. And she was so distraught over kissing Victor that she ran out of Genoa City. She ran to Denver. She met Cameron Kirsten and they slept together. So, I don't know, she was battling her guilt over betraying Nick by betraying him again. So anyway, they slept together, and then she was like, okay, I have to go back to Genoa City and just, face what I've done with my life. So she went back, and then Cameron followed her, and he was constantly blackmailing her, threatening to tell Nick about kissing Victor and about banging him. And so he was able to keep manipulating her. And he was just obsessed with her, and he was getting increasingly violent. She bashed him in the head with a champagne bottle, thought she killed him, shoved his body in a dumpster, and left him for dead. She took off. He wasn't dead because villains don't die that easily. And he then framed her for murder by killing Mariah and Cassie's biological dad, Frank. And he left the guy, I think, in a sewer, but with clues that implicated Sharon, basically because then Sharon had to come to him for help, and then he was going to fly her out of the country and keep her, but Nick stowed away, and there was this big fight. Anyway, so Cameron's been in jail. So Chance comes to give them bad news because Nick and Sharon report to Chance this week that they believe Cameron Kirsten is back and is stalking her. And Chance doesn't have good news. And the news, I'm sure, is Cameron is no longer in prison. Given the couple of decades it's been since they had him arrested in that cornfield long ago, he's probably out on parole. He might have escaped, but I tend to think just because it's been 20 years, he's on parole. We'll see, but it'll be easier for him if he's out on parole rather than an escapee, because if he was an escapee, Chance could arrest him first time he saw him. So once Chance confirms this to Sharon and Nick, they, of course, are going to be in full freakout mode. Meanwhile, the bad guy himself is talking to Faith Newman. Faith Newman's back. Hey, y'all. We haven't seen her in a minute, right? Raylan Castor is back in the role. And Cameron runs into her, and I'm sure it is intentional. So Cameron came along before Faith Newman was born because she's been Sorest and stuff. So she definitely came along post Cameron, and she is the offspring of Sharon. I expect he might say some creepy stuff to her like, oh, you look just like your mom. Maybe he's going to kidnap her to get Sharon's attention. Who knows? I feel like he's not immediately going to go into villain mode because he's on parole. We might get a thing more like, with when Jeremy Stark first showed up and was like, oh, I'm on parole. I'm towing the line. People are hassling me. I think we're going to get some kind of repetitive writing like that with this guy. But Cameron Kirsten is a real dirtbag, and Sharon has good reason to be terrified of him. And it's a very exciting casting. I feel like that they brought his role back to have Lyndon Ashby on set because he's married to Susan Walters, who plays Diane Jenkins. And they had Cameron Kirsten, actor Lyndon Ashby, taking promo photos by himself on the red carpet of Y&R. They had him do some with Susan Walters, who plays Diane. And that makes sense. It also makes sense for Susan Walters to have photos taken by herself, but it doesn't make sense for CBS Press to have individual promo photos of Lyndon Ashby on the red carpet, except for they were planning for this plot. So it's exciting. I wonder if there'll be any overlap where we'll ever get to see Susan and Lyndon interacting, because their characters are largely unrelated, but since they are husband and wife, and if you ever looked at her Instagram, they're totally cute together. They've been married like 37 years, I think. So it's all heating up. That's the breakdown. That's what you're going to see. Click subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss a thing. And now buckle up. We are going to show you that why in our promo and let us know what you think about it, what you think is coming from this scenes. Do you remember Cameron? If you don't, go over to our Young and the Restless playlist after you watch the promo, and there is a video called Sharon Stalker Revealed, where we talk about maybe it's Matt Clark, but more likely it is Cameron Kirsten, and we give you the whole big long history of Cameron Kirsten and Sharon Newman. Check out that promo now.
Is this a meeting about Newman Media? Or is this a barbecue and I'm what's on a grill?
I got news about Kirsten. Not great.
Are you Faith Newman?
I am. Do I know you?